can be possible. Right, okay. So I've already brought up in the stream already. I want them to completely get rid of limited and semi-limited cards, right? And I think that it is reasonable for them to do that because the whole Konami doesn't like having cards in a limited, semi-limited, or forbidden. They don't like that like in general. But like if you were to actually put it so that you don't have limited and semi-limited cards and you only have banned cards, you actually make like you're adding quite a few more cards to the ban section. But overall, you're actually reducing the amount of cards that are being touched. So it makes the game look more appealing, and it literally gets rid of so many problems that we have in the game. Like because one of the biggest problems with having limited and semi-limited cards is it becomes more of a sack factor, and like it's literally just them pussying around with the fact that they don't want to ban cards when they should just be banned anyway, and it just makes it so like it makes the game like deck building and stuff so much more interesting and so much better. Because you have so many more options.
So do you think like Blackluster Soldier should go to 3 or put to 0?
Put to 0, yeah, obviously.
Woo! What do you think about? Well, hang on.
Really?
I can literally go through the list and tell you cards, like tell you positions of everything if you want.
I think BLS should go to 3. Honestly, I don't think it's good. It's that good.
What about?
No, because the problem the problem with that people have with a lot of cards is we've gone for like you have to like consider what we've actually gone through. So we've gone through a point in time where Blackluster sold like Raigeki and stuff, right? We've gone through points in time where they aren't so relevant because of the meta that we're in. But what you have to understand is that like there is going to be a time soon enough. Like think about it right now. We're in a format where it's actually like it's like stale because we've had a bunch of the cards around for so long anyway. And then not only that, but like nothing is interesting because everything's sort of shitty. We're gonna get to a time where like the game's gonna evolve, and it's probably gonna go a bit backwards in the fact that we're not gonna have like so many floaters, and it's gonna be a more interesting game. And it's gonna make it so that these sort of cards, like if Blackluster Soldier is like readily available for like a certain deck to be playable, you're going to have people bitching about Envoy again because it's just going to be a sack card. You're going to have people bitching about Raigeki because it's a sack card. You're going to have all these like cards which are actually problems, but because people are so blindsided by the fact that they're not playing in the current meta, people don't really realize it. It's like why it's another reason again why I say cards like Rekindling and Machine Dupe should be banned, because although they're not played, you're going to see a format where they're going to be played again, and they're just going to be really bad and unhealthy for the game.
Okay, so what's your opinion on something like Graph, for instance? Something that's quite specific in what it does.
Graph, like Burning Abyss Graph.
Yeah, it should be a 3.
Cliffort Scout.
That should be banned.
What? Are you joking?
Scout, yeah.
Graph should be at 3, but Scout should be banned.
Yeah.
What about Tour Guide?
Okay.
The problem, like, no, I would ban Tour Guide.
Okay.
Because you go to the limited list, and I think it's like an attempt, like it's marketing, isn't it? Really, I mean, like Konami don't really want to. They don't necessarily like just go ahead and ban everything. They want to like
so many of these cards like are actually just like pussying around with it. Like, right, okay, so let's look at like the Eva Gishki, right? That is like a massive example of them like just not knowing how to deal with it properly. Like even like you don't have to have Mind August at 1. You could literally just, like, one of the biggest problem with the Gishki FTK deck, which decks out, is 1 Day of Peace. I actually don't understand why they haven't banned 1 Day of Peace. That is actually such a big, that is such an unhealthy and degenerate card. And it's actually just a massive problem for, like, those sort of decks. Because it's still possible to do the Gishki deck, because 1 Day of Peace is still limited.
You don't think that it's not really 1 Day of Peace's fault? It's the fact that we have stupid, like, loops and stuff in the game anyway.
No, because
I mean, like,
1 Day of the 1 Day of Peace is the like right. Okay, so the reason why this is readily available is because you can recycle 1 Day of Peace. Like if we didn't have 1 Day of Peace, the only way you have ways to make it so that your opponent can keep on drawing, so that they deck out eventually, is cards like Hand Destruction and Dark Dealings, and they're not reliable ways to do the exact same thing because they're inherent -1s. And there's going to be a point in time when you're looping those cards, and you're just going to run out of steam and you're not going to be able to deck them out. And that's going to happen more games than it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but
which is
the issue I feel like you're doing here is like you're so concerned about like symptoms rather than the root causes, and it's like the symptom here is 1 day of peace, whereas the root cause is the Gishki loop. Like, why not just deal with the Gishki loop? Like, you know, I feel like, for example, I personally feel like erratas should be enforced more than ban lists. So things like Plush Fire, for example, I don't feel like that card should have been banned. I feel like it could have been errata to be once per turn and only once that turn. Like, I feel like that's what they should really do to like fix cards and stuff, rather than banning and limiting them.
They don't even need to do that though. Like, so doing Plush Fire wasn't the problem. Damage Juggler was.
Comedian.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but like staying on topic, like I feel like, you know, things like the Gishki loop, like that could have, like, all they need to do is errata the ritual guy or something, whatever one it is that facilitates the hand loop. Like, they just have to errata it to be like once per turn and only once that turn of this card's name. You know what I mean? Like, rather than having to like ban 1 day of peace, which is like a totally fair card. Like, really, if you think about it, like in a vacuum, 1 day of peace is a totally fair card.
It isn't a fair card though. I honestly don't think that 1 day of peace is a fair card.
Why? Both players draw and you don't take any damage for 1 turn. I don't understand how that's...
No, for your turn and their turn.
It means higher.
Okay, so like what's the problem with that?
If it basically enables and functions for degenerate decks to thrive.
Yeah, but Biggie, that's what I just said. Like, the problem is the degenerate decks, not the 1 day of peace.
But then you're never gonna have. This is like. This is the root of, like, it's not just of the Gishki deck. It's like with loads of decks that are going to have that problem.
Because
And if
yeah.
I understand you could literally hit all those decks, but you could literally, or you could just ban 1 day of peace, and it makes it so that those decks can't thrive.
No, but the issue is that there's this design flaw that Konami has, like, inherently within their like R&D team of like making broken stuff that can be looped and stuff like that. Like, if they just make pretty much, I feel like one day to, like, for example, curb power creep and to make sure that we don't get degenerate stuff is just literally just make like every card like, let's say, like once per turn, and that would probably fix like 9 out of like 10 problems we have in the game or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, but I still don't think that 1 day of peace should be a card that should exist in the game as well.
Brad, what do you think?
A similar point that can be brought up is the fact that a card like Mass Driver got banned because, like, they tried to address every issue that could potentially, you know, they could come up with Mass Driver, to the point where they just went, oh, well, we can't, like, every time they'd fix one issue, like they fix one degenerate or loop-ish deck or OTK deck, they go ahead and just, you know, find something completely different. So it's the same sort of vein, really. I mean, you know, a card like 1 day of peace, just I personally don't agree with erratas myself. I don't like the idea of changing a card for the sake of, like, it might be too broken or something. I think that, like, it can come back when a format permits it to. Like, BLS was a card that was banned for a certain amount of time, and then that came back. But so I actually agree with Tom in the fact that they just need to, like, hit the cards that are, like, majorly an issue.
Facilitate.
If they're facilitating multiple decks to be an issue, like Mass Driver was, for instance, then that's definitely if that's like the root of the problem, that's definitely the thing that should be hit.
Like, that's not the root of the problem. Like, that isn't at all. Like, Mass Driver's like root problem, first of all, is that it's not once per turn, and second of all, the root of the problem was Substitute. You know, now that Substitute's gone, Mass Driver does nothing.
But no, you'll say that, but then, like, you know, there'll be a certain point. I'm pretty sure, like, there have been multiple OTKs Mass Driver.
Yeah, which is why I think bans and stuff should not, like, ever be a thing, because, like, I feel like if you're gonna ban a card, that should be like a last resort. Whereas, you know, you could just have, like, erratas. I feel like erratas fix like, tell me one thing that an errata wouldn't fix. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to just change the card's design, like, I don't feel like cards should be just, like, deleted or whatever, because, you know, everyone loves their cards. You know, everyone loves, like, certain archetypes and stuff like that. No one wants to see something permanently banned. You know, like Stratos, that thing could come back, like, even in its full power form, but arguably if Konami don't think that card should come back in its full power form, why don't they just, like, errata it to say one effect each per turn, once per turn, like Shadow Mist? Do you know what I mean?
I thought it was
Stratus is a problem, not because of you being able to use it multiple times in the turn. Stratos was a problem because it affected to have another 10 different cards be put on the list to have it legal. And it's better just to ban Stratos so that you don't have to have 10 other cards on the ban list.
I say, like, I was talking to someone from Konami and like a while back about Stratos, and they said like a Hero Lives, Bubble Man, Rota, like all these cards were like partly on there because of Stratos.
Yeah, you have Destiny Hero Malicious.
Oh, wow.
That was another card that was like they like Rota was single-handedly on there because of Stratos. Then you had Emergency Call that was put on there to 2 because of Stratos. You had Destiny Hero Malicious, which was a 2 because of Stratos. You had Hero Lives because of Stratos. Bubble Man because of Stratos. You had so many cards just because Stratos. People wanted Stratos in the game. Like if you look at Japan's list, they have Stratos, but they still have a lot of those cards on the list.
Okay. So anyway, moving away from that kind of thing, trying to make it a bit more realistic, I guess, would be like, you know, looking forward, etc., into the future. Like, what should happen? Elliot, if you want to jump in and let us know what you think, if you're still there.
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of cards. There are a lot of cards on the ban list. There's a lot of cards on the ban list that, like, obviously we've been, like, discussing here, like, from time to time, like, that could easily come back. Like, we're talking about, like, Disc Commander the One Day. And then someone was arguing the validity of Cyberstein returning. I don't think Cyberstein could come back because of the advanced card pool. I think the reason initially why it was banned was obviously because of like the OTKs that it was facilitating. But now I just think that it couldn't come back because of the amount of like degenerate, you know, extra monsters in the game. Because there will be some way to exploit it. Whilst everyone would argue that cards like Veiler exist and Breakthrough Skill or whatever, it doesn't change the fact that, like, you know, upon it resolving, could effectively, you know, create something completely degenerate. I'm just looking at the list and just like thinking out loud. Really, I think stuff like Rescue Cat could probably come back off the ban list. Actually,
whoa. Do you? I don't think
it's that far of a stretch. I think that like, I don't think it's
Rescue
like totally.
Rescue Cat is a one-card FTK in multiple forms.
It's like searchable as well through Summoner Monk, and Summoner Monk searchable through Black Garden. Like, there's too many ways to get to it.
What's the FTK?
You don't know this?
It's
like, Rescue Cat has
Madolch
multiple
one.
FTKs.
No.
Yeah,
Rescue Cat can get a card that literally says you contribute this card to summon back a level 4 lower beast from your graveyard. So you summon Rescue Cat, you activate its effect, you summon 2 of them. You get to use Rescue Cat 4 times in the turn, easily.
Okay. I just assumed that like.
Go on, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I just thought that the reason why it was banned was because of the X-Type format.
It was, but there's been cards since that actually make it so it just can't come back.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's me. That's my ignorance there. Tribe Infecting Virus was another one I thought that might be able to come back.
Yeah, Tribe can come back.
Should come back.
I said
That's
to
awful.
but he said to me when I spoke to him about it at YCS Sheffield that it was because people, like little kids, wanted to play machine decks or whatever. But then, like, since then, he's like changed his opinion on it and was like, "No, that's not what I said." And I was like, "Okay." No spell can come back. None of the spell cards. Oh, Heavy Storm can, or Hobbies, but one of those two.
Do you really think Heavy Storm and Duster should come back in a format where traps already suck? Really?
I mean, it just gives less fuel for people to play them. Really, it's more of just a disincentive. Because people will just happen. Like people that are playing trap decks though are literally just like they're not getting punished for the fact. Oh, I'm going to set 4 back rows. Like it's not a good strategy, but like it's not. It's literally it's not like fun either.
I feel like Heavy Storm would only ever be sided anyway. I don't think you would just play.
No, you'd definitely main Heavy Storm.
Really?
Yeah.
In a format.
Yeah.
In a format where there are a lot of people that are maining Twin Twister.
Pendulums, yeah, maybe.
Like at the very worst, it's a glorified 1-for-1. I mean, it only gets more value the more cards you can hit with Storm.
Yeah, none of the traps and none of the spells, realistically, apart from Storm or Duster. None of the well, no, Zenmighty could come back.
I thought Zenmighty could come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you
Is there any? Is there any more degenerate sort of reasons that Brian X on the ban list? Like, I'm not saying like it should. I'm not saying it should come off. I'm just asking if there's
It's
anything.
part of loops.
There's a
It's
load
what?
of loops, Rio.
Oh, it's
There's loads
loops.
of
Okay.
loops.
Pretty sure it's just Inferni or something that looped it, was it not?
Nah, there was a lot.
See what I mean? Like a card like Brian, all they need to do is just errata it to say once per turn. Like that's it, and that card could be back to 3 tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
That's probably what they're gonna do though, slowly with like every card.
Yeah, that's honestly like Elliot, do you not think that's a better solution than just hitting cards? Would be just to like fix
Yeah,
the
of course,
text?
but they're really busy and stuff, and they can't just do that.
Plus, you think about how the card.
That was a real issue for you.
One thing you got to think about as well is the fact that the card pool is expanding by like 60 cards every 3 months, and like they are probably
more than
like
that.
if you, yeah, of course,
A lot
but like
more.
yeah, so rather than try and go back and try and make all these older cards, playable again, they'll just go ahead like. There's no attempt to make old cards worth playing again. They'll just focus on like the new product, because at the end of the day, like that's all they care about is trying to make the new product, or it's a marketing effectively. If they take time to go ahead and errata all these cards, which effectively then end up not being playable, then no one's gonna like it won't help them. It doesn't benefit anybody. So like what was the last? I was gonna say, what's the last card they errata?
Like Crush Card was like probably the most recent one, and that thing sucks. Like no one plays that.
I think it was
Dark-
Exactly.
D-Mark.
D-Mark is errata. That's not even back yet.
No, yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
It's in.
It's in the Legendary Collection.
No, it hasn't been
Yeah,
brought back.
it's
for
right.
what?
It's not that yet.
It's still banned. You can't play it.
Oh, sorry.
Right. It's been reprinted. It's been reprinted, but it's not off the ban list yet.
Yeah, it'll come back. It'll go back to 3 when it's unbanned, though.
The other thing is as well, they hate the secondary market. So by bringing cards back off the ban list, then it makes players that invested in that card before it came off the ban list earn money in the secondary market. They hate the secondary market, so they don't want people to do that.
No, but it gives them incentive to reprint it again with the so that they make more money from it. They'll probably bring it back.
Well, cards like this, they only reprint in tournament packs, and they don't really make loads of money on tournament
Well,
packs.
in the next mass reprint set, they could just reprint it and then bring it back, which is like what they do with D-Mark.
See, this is the thing. Like everyone wins with erratas. The players get to play their favorite cards again, like Stratos or whatever, or Bryanak, etc., etc. Maybe not Stratos. Like obviously, you kind of explained why that probably shouldn't come back even with an errata. But like most cards could be fixed with an errata. Konami gets to reprint it. Konami gets to make more money from it. We get to play it. We get to enjoy it. Like everyone wins. I don't see like how this errata business can
because it sort of like it compromises like the nature of the card. Like so if they errata something and bring it back, it doesn't necessarily mean it's as good as it was or as playable as it was.
Well, that's a good thing. It shouldn't be as good as it was because it was errated for a reason, you know? I mean, like, Bryanak doing all these loops and stuff.
But it gets rid of the whole sentimental reason of why you enjoyed it.
Not really, no, not at all, because, like, you still, it still has the spirit of what it did. Like, if Bryanak comes back as once per turn, you're still going to bounce your opponent's entire field, right? But you're going to do it once. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to loop their hand with Trishula, for example. You know, like, I just don't see, like, why that would be.
One of the
Go on, Ollie.
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, one of the issues with errata cards as well is the fact that you have sort of like if you have new players coming into the game who don't, you know, it's hard to errata a card and bring it back because there's already a copy of the card that says something else. I understand they errata all the time, but a lot of the time it's minimal erratas that are sort of like little extra information or better wording of the card. But when you errata a card so heavily that it basically has a different effect, which is kind of what it would be if you errated Bryanak once per turn. The newer, like, it gets confusing because there's older copies of the card, and if you use an older copy of the card, the effect is completely different, and so it's harder for new players to sort of get into, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
I can understand like new players would kind of struggle and stuff, but like if you're a competitive player, you're gonna be up to date with all these things, and I'm sure Konami would like you know, if they were to
So-
make this like a sort of policy of errating, they would probably create some sort of like, you know, database online that would show you the list. Like they wouldn't, like, instead of a ban list, they would have like an errata list of like the latest card text on cards that have been drastically changed over the past few years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but the issue is Konami aren't trying to appeal to the competitive players necessarily, because the thing is that with the competitive players are not the ones that are making Konami money. The people that are keeping the game going is the casual players, and so they'd rather please the casual players. Let's be real, that's why Pepe got hit so quickly, because they want to appeal to the more casual players and let them have decks that are gonna like be able to slightly compete. Like they don't really care about us, and they don't care
I'm
about
not really
secondary
sure
market.
about that. That's the
They
thing.
they don't compete to the casual players. They compete. They do to the people that don't even go to tournaments. The people that make Konami the most money, the little kids that go to their corner shop and get random packs.
Really though? Like really?
Yeah, that's why Star Pack sold the most.
Star Pack is their most successful pack in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh history.
Wow.
Oh, really?
So it's so
Yeah,
cheap.
people
so cheap
like
and mum
it's
will go in
why
and buy
it's
5
why
packs.
Konami actually laugh at Pojo when they say whoever invented Star Pack should be fired, because Matt Bell was the one that did it, and that is actually the most successful pack Yu-Gi-Oh has ever had. Because like this, I'll put it this way, right? So you have your average like major sets, right, like Bosch and stuff, and you'll get them in
Yeah.
like your casual card shops and right, like your locals and everything, right? And so like let's say
Yeah.
that's like on every like in America, let's say that's like one in every like 1 in 4 blocks, right? Like
Yeah.
so like it's less frequent than say the average corner shop, which is on every block, where they'll just be buying just star packs because they're cheap and because kids can go in there and spend the rest of their money to do it. And if kids are constantly doing that over and over again, the sales that they make from Star Pack is just ridiculous.
It also sounds really retarded, but like Star Packs are way more comparable to like I don't know, like football packs or like American football, you know, cards.
Yeah.
Because they're so much cheaper. They're on an equivalent price to that. So if a kid walks into a corner shop, they sell match attacks and they sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like if they sold a Bosch pack versus a match attack pack, the kid's like, I can get like 6 match attack packs for the price that I can get 1 Yu-Gi-Oh pack. Why would I get a Yu-Gi-Oh pack? Whereas Star Pack solves that problem because it was like a pound. So
Yeah, it's
really,
like a pound.
it's like really tiny like price. So like it's more appealing to them because it builds the like, although they can't actually see it because it has less cards in the pack, so it's technically actually less value. They don't look at it like that. They see the price of the pack and be like, I can get like 10 of these packs as opposed to getting three of another pack.
Plus it links to the anime.
I
as
can
well,
play
which is another-
60 cards instead of 40 and I'll see more blue eyes, yay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
basically.
So Nick, going back, when we talk about like the sentimentality of a card, like for example, an example that comes to mind is something like Ring of Destruction, where people were playing it in like GOAT format, and like that's probably the best you'll get out of it, because like a card, like the card getting the errata and coming back to the game, it very rarely saw use after it got errata and came back to the game. So you can errata every card on this list, but whether or not it makes it more, what's the word, balanced for the game is a completely different story. Balanced in that it's like it's actually used in competitive decks on a frequent basis, not that it's fair. Which is exactly what has happened to like most of the errated
I
cards.
like Ring of Destruction anyway, but I'll hate Ring of Destruction till the end of time. Fuck that card.
I don't see what's wrong with Ring. Like that's an example of a good errata and a successful errata and a card that could. Is it still at 1? Because I'm pretty sure it could go to 3 easily. Like
I think it's off the list.
the degenerate thing
Okay.
about Ring was the fact that you could like force draws and stuff like that. That's gone now. The card's fair and balanced. Nobody even plays it anymore.
You can still draw with Ring.
Yeah, you can still draw a ring.
If you
In a very unlikely.
yeah, well But anyway, I have questions here. Do you guys think that E-Telly's getting hit?
I don't think you
Uh,
can. It burns you
Maybe.
first.
I think maybe semi-limited.
Ring burns you
I don't think
first.
semi-limited does it.
I think you can tell he's pretty likely to get it.
Yeah, the
I
fact
feel
that they're
like- I feel
reprinting
like
it so much.
You put E-Telly to 1 or you just don't hit. What's the point in semi-limiting it? That's doing nothing.
I know,
wouldn't
but
say- yeah.
the reason why I think it will be semi-limited as opposed to being limited is the fact that like they'll want to sell the gold premium shit, Like I know that the Cosmo stuff is obviously the main selling point of that, but like when you think about how they want to market Cosmo as the next best deck, how are they going to do that by keeping a card that like teleport at like 2 or 3?
One second, Nadir, how are we answering this? Are we answering what should happen, or what we think Konami will do? Because there's like two. That's
Yeah,
two
like you can
separate-
answer it for both if you just clarify what you're referring to. Like I personally think Konami will hit E-Tele. I personally don't think it should be hit. Like that's my opinion.
I think it should be.
I think
the card
it
should be hit.
I think it should be, but I don't think Konami will. I'm like the complete
I
opposite.
don't think they should hit. I don't think it needs to be hit, but
Okay, what do you hit in Cosmo then?
No, I don't think anything should be hit.
Because
I think it'll get power creep.
My main issue with Cosmo is that at the moment it has interactions in the deck that they didn't design for it to have. I don't feel like Cosmo was designed.
Like what?
I don't think Cosmo was designed to be a like Call of the Haunted, Oasis.
Of course it was. Why would they send the cards? Why would they allow the cards to be sent to graveyard? Like the whole point of Tin Can was to fuel your graveyard because up until then there was nothing for the graveyard, and that's when they made stuff like Dark Eclipser, which literally state banish cards from your graveyard to negate stuff. Like they lit the whole box
I
was
feel
to
like
completely set so that you could use banish stuff and graveyard stuff.
I still don't. Yeah, no, I understand like putting stuff in the graveyard for then like Dark Eclipse effect. I just don't feel like they've. I don't know. Maybe they did think about it. Maybe they did think about shoving Call of the Haunted in deck. But I'm surprised that they didn't give it its own Call of the Haunted card as opposed to if that was the way they wanted to go.
That might be what they do.
Yeah, I thought they would give it a Call of the Haunted card, not a. So that's what leads me to thinking that they didn't actually think, oh, like a Call of the Haunted card, like just shove Call of the Haunted Dragon Souls. You know, like it doesn't make sense because in art type of stuff like this, like it's very Konami normally make it very obvious what they want the deck to do by the cards that they release.
But when have they ever made a Call of the Haunted for like an art fight?
Well, anyway, without going off topic, let's move on to the next question here. Someone's asking, why is Sangan and Witch still on the ban list?
Huh?
I think there's like ways to exploit it. Yeah.
No, the Sangan and Witch could go to 3.
Konami R&D team do a lot of testing.
Yeah, but why is it still at 1? Or ban, sorry.
Probably because they like. Well, I can't explain. Like the R&D team like don't seem to get. They seem to be very relaxed with some cards and then very hasty with other cards. I think it's just one of those times where they don't want to bring it back because they're too worried about it, but it honestly could come back. And R&D don't do that much testing.
You probably don't want to put the time in to like see if it's actually broken, so it's easier to just leave it on the list.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I'm just gonna say right now that just to say to people for Konami R&D, like they actually think one of the best cards in the game is Fiendish Chain. So I don't think their R&D team is.
It's not.
Huh?
How do you know that? Because
Matt Bell's told me about all of the testing games that they try.
Well, like the thing is, like people give the R&D team too much credit. Like I honestly think that people assume that the R&D team is literally a team of people, like like so many people, like maybe like 30 odd people, just sat down all day testing Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's not what it is. It's like the R&D like have so much more of a job than just sitting there playing Yu-Gi-Oh. The R&D team does not do as much testing as you guys like think they do, so they miss way more than.
Personally, I think R&D team is just a bunch of people who don't even play the game like at all. Like they're just people who like have their own wee testing sessions occasionally, but most of the time they go into like designing cards and like creating cool effects and stuff, and probably don't even realize the repercussions.
Sure, but like I don't know the exact number, but I know that our R&D have like less than 10 people on their thing. Like there is no way like they have to. The R&D team are like responsible for like organizing events and stuff as well, right? And they're like they do all of that shit. Like they they look up venues, they have to visit the venues, they have to do like risk assessments, that kind of stuff. The R&D team will do so much, and they can't just sit around testing all day. So like just say the R&D team has like 6 people, like they still don't have enough time to test, so they miss so much stuff.
Alright, next question. How would you guys feel about an increase in base life points to try and counter numerous FTKs and OTKs? That's not really anything to do with the ban list, to try to keep it relevant, but if anyone wants to like quickly... I think I kind of talked about this a lot, but if anyone wants to chime in.
I think a lot of FTKs don't really care about life points, so they probably just push through it anyway.
Okay, what about OTKs?
I mean, yeah, some of OTKs these days are quite like glass cannons, aren't they? Like there's not a lot of like consistent OTKs.
The one other thing I will say as well.
Every
with
deck can
Konami
OTK.
is-
That's the issue. Even Monarchs
What,
can
what,
OTK.
what life points would you like to put it at? Like, would you say 16,000 is enough? Because then, like, Cosmo can still kill you through that, and then Monarchs will never kill you through that. So it's like you're
And
just
then-
gonna make some decks like unviable from it.
I mean,
I
that
feel
like games
Sorry.
games go to time as sorry, I was just gonna say that games go to time as much as it is at the moment.
Yeah.
So like increasing life just inherently makes competitive play a lot like what's the word?
I've played
Difficult?
Just
Monarch.
say there's a card,
Arduous.
just say a card called Ancient Leaf, and its effect is it's a normal spell card, and it says if you have 9,000 or more life points, you can pay 2,000 life points to draw 2 cards.
It's not.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah, you'd have to hit that.
So yeah, you couldn't do that without actually.
If the increased life points games go until I've played Monarch Mirrors that have lasted 75 minutes for the 3 games. If you're playing
Yeah,
with
so
double
by-
life points, talking about like 90-minute rounds when they're trying to fit it into 40.
Well, the thing is, like, the reason for that is I feel like some decks actually feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, a Monarch Mirror match actually feels like you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, then you play a Pendulum Mirror match, that doesn't feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! It's literally, like, both players can show each other their hands, and you would calculate from there who's gonna win. Like, if both players just play, like, properly, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the issue, and I feel like, you know, while increasing life points would be a bit of a band-aid fix, you know, it wouldn't fix a lot of decks. Like, for example, Monarchs, you know, they would never kill you, and like Elliot said, Cosmo would just kill you anyway. Like, there's too much of a disparity, so I'm not sure how much life points would really make a difference.
One other thing about that as well is I feel like Konami are quite shit when they make lists and what they hit. But one thing that they do well is they stop like FTKs and stuff. They know like Konami, no matter what, they don't really want FTK decks in the game, and they certainly don't want a consistent FTK. So they are quite good at sort of like making sure the FTKs do not have very long. Like they will actually hit the FTK cards. I can't imagine that they wouldn't like ban the Magical Explosion or whatever, or like do something to that deck.
Look at the band list.
Someone trying to speak, because like, it sounds like someone's drowning.
I think I'm getting fed back through Tom's mic.
Oh. Let's see. Opinion on returning a forbidden generic card to limited each ban list. I think if Linthio did a video on this. Basically, I don't think that Konami should return forbidden cards to limited each ban list for the sake of it. Snatch Steal was a terrible example because all they made was a one-off sack card. Nobody ever, like, no one, like, I think Patrick Hoban of all people was the only person who thought it would do nothing. It didn't do anything, sure. Well, that's arguable. Like, me and my friends, we designed a deck around Snatch Steal in Shaddolls to beat Clifford's with hidden armories and stuff. But, like, in general, yeah, sure. Like, that card doesn't do anything. But all it does is make games unnecessarily stupid, sacky bullshit. Like, you could be the best player in the room and you would just lose to someone like top decking a Snatch Steal in time or something like that. You know, it's really ridiculous. And there's a lot of cards that shouldn't come back just for the sake of it. But some cards should come back. And I feel like most cards that should come back should primarily be engine cards, so archetype cards, things that are searchable, things that are consistent. So
Math is such a good card.
Math?
Mathematician. It promotes such creativity in deck
Yeah,
building, and then they
Mathematician is
just
so
destroyed
random. I don't know why they put it to one. It's, like, of any card that format to be hit, they hit Mathematician. But like staying on topic, like, what do you guys think about like just bringing back banned stuff occasionally or whatever, just to like test it out, I guess?
No,
It kind of begs the question. It's really bad because like it then begs the question as to what card they could bring back off what one card they could bring back off the ban list that is balanced or like is the least sacky or shit. So like probably the.
What about cards that are too slow, like Witch, Sangan, or Seal? Time Seal? Is that what that person's referring about?
Time Seal shouldn't come back. Time Seal created too many people getting game losses.
What does it do?
It skips your opponent's next draw phase, and the reason why it got banned was because it was too much trouble because too many people were getting game losses because they were forgetting they were under Time Seal.
Or like drastic drop off. Yeah. You let your opponent draw, shuffle their hand, and then you like call a judge.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like it was around the time that Victory Dragon got banned as well, because there was a lot of trouble with those two cards. Time Seal because people were getting game losses for that, and then there was the whole UDE kept on getting harassed because they're going, I summon Victory Dragon, my opponent scooped. Is he allowed to do that?
Oh Christ, yeah, I remember that. What about this might sound a bit stupid, but given the current state of the game with pendulum summoning and how people are trying to like put more of their resources in their extra deck as opposed to the grave, what do you think about Reborn coming back?
No, Reborn's another sack card.
I don't like that Reborn works on your opponent's graveyard as well.
Yeah.
This is the problem with the ban list. Everything's either really, really broken, like with like Substitute or Rescue Cat, or it's just a sack card. Like there's so many non-archetypal cards on there that you just end up gonna have to draw.
Premature can't come back because we have hidden armory.
Okay.
Sounds.
And in some cases, it can just be better than Reborn. If there's a deck that can abuse bouncing it back, that's just terrible.
So I think that like in terms of the ban, like what is effectively forbidden, I think most cards here are like there's I think there's very few that could come off. Like Disc Commander's one in my opinion, and is Fishbowl Blaster like that? That was something else I was contemplating. Like that got banned. What? Sorry.
It is the best tuner in the game. You can't have that come back.
Why though?
Foolish. I feel like
it's the best tuner doesn't mean we can't have it.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to abuse because you just keep on summoning back constantly. You can summon it back and do it. What will be the best way to explain?
I know it's like really, really strong, but I don't think it's like inherently degenerate or anything. I think there are a few silly loops, but surely that's not Blaster's fault.
Wasn't it banned because I just thought it was banned because it was like of its application in Mermail or something?
No, because it was a lot before that.
It's because of what, sorry?
You could summon it off of a Deep Sea Sealer Camp and it would just literally just make ridiculous boards. Just because it's a card that keeps on coming back. You bring it back like 5 or 6 times in a turn.
The infinite triple loop. Good times.
What about Yata? Yata Garusu coming back off the ban list?
We don't know.
I mean,
Nah. Nah.
Like I don't. I've just someone asking me to.
I think it could come back, but I don't think it should. It's kind of pointless. But I don't think it's actually inherently like silly broken. It's just kind of annoying.
It's not a combo card. It would be a brick, but like the fact of like it's just it can just end games by itself is.
I don't think anyone would use it though. I feel like if it came back, I don't think it would actually be indexed. Like, I can understand why it shouldn't come back, just because of what it can do, but I don't think that I would be like, if it came back, like, tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'm putting this in my Pepe deck, because it's insane. Like, I wouldn't do that, but like, I can understand why you're saying it shouldn't come back, because of just what it does.
Yeah, I mean, like, the way it would work is effectively, like, in a game state in this game state now, where, like, a 2-card combo could effectively establish a whole board of 5 monsters. If you just chuck a normal summonable Yata on top of that, it's just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it means that like, you just, you're able to advance your game state while your opponent can't do shit. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You're usually dead anyway, and then the draw usually doesn't matter. So it's like.
All right, so moving on to another question. Do you guys think that Exoton should come back? Duncan, do you want to start us off?
Exoton seems weird with pendulums. Like, I like it because of how it can punish people for overextending, but it might depend on like what pendulum deck is doing a thing at that point as well, and how easily they can replace scales.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, the pendulum mechanic is really strong, so I feel like it should have some sort of a answer, and it should have like a worry. And Exoton, I feel like has always been a fair and balanced card because it punishes such like overextension. It punishes like just really like this idea of making a big board and like hoping your opponent can't out it and then winning the next turn. I hate that so much, and I feel like Exoton really helps that.
I think you're right in that sense that it can punish overextension, but I just think it also just punishes someone for playing badly and just being behind because
it just wins. Like there's so many times in this format where I've just realised like if Exaton was legal right now, you just win games. Oh, Book of Moon should be at 3 for sure. Like that card should have never been limited. Like, the reasoning for limiting Book of Moon is terrible.
Staying on topic, Tom.
Sorry.
Oh no, someone just posted.
Someone posted in the chat.
Yeah, no, I'm going through all the questions like one at a time.
Sorry.
I think everyone can agree that when XTOM was actually banned, it was the only questionable hit.
Not really.
But, like,
I mean, we
now
all knew
that-
what Konami were doing.
All I mean is like when you can see why they did it, as opposed to whether or not it was actually like healthy for the game. It was kind of like it was kind of questionable. But like now you look at the way pendulums have like sort of developed into this like unhealthy spammer board type sort of game state. It kind of makes you. It kind of makes everyone. I want it to come back. I think it should come back because like it punishes like the thing. I think for me it's the fact that it was like also during like my appreciation for the card comes from like playing in a format where decks like Klee were a thing where like floodgates it sort of punishes your opponent for like sitting on like 4 traps or 5 back row. It's the same sort of premise as Storm really, but they can't just like spill their hand and not get punished for it.
What about an Evil Swarm Exaton Knight coming from Norden? I feel like Norden should be banned 100%.
Yeah,
I just think
I got
ban
a feel Exaton should come back. I'll go with the opposite direction of everyone else. I think for 2 level 4s, that card is like has got a too powerful effect. Like
I agree with Jack. I think it's quite refreshing for a format to be like so shit with rank 4s. Like we've had so many good rank 4s for so long, and now it's just kind of average. It feels kind of good, like we were actually branching off.
I feel like the gap between ranks is unbelievably stupid. Like I feel like level 8s are really hard to bring out, so therefore rank 8s, bringing out 2 level 8s, that's hard enough as it is, and it's just really shit because it's like rank 8 suck. Like the best rank 8 was like Felgrand for so long.
Yeah, but that's format dependent. Like Felgrand used to be really, really good, and those formats where it was like ridiculous.
But the thing is, like the rank 4 toolbox deals with everything. There is nothing a rank 4 card can't deal with. You know what I mean?
Most rank 4s are like reaction-based cards. Like, there's hardly any of them that are actually just like cards that you just want to make, like to further your game state. A lot of the time, it's cards like Diamond Direwolf, which has to pop it's a reaction to popping a back row, or it's like Castel to spin a card back. Like, there's not loads of I can't name many rank 4s which I just want to make to like just like continue combos. I mean, like maybe like King of the Ferrolim, stuff like that. But like, there's not loads.
But isn't that a good thing? Like, I mean, you could say the same about rank 8s. Like,
I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but like, you don't want to have loads of rank 4s which you can just make. You can just have access to, which are just like busted rank 4s. Like, you just want cards that can, because it's too accessible. It becomes the rank 4s are just too accessible. You just want rank 4s that can just, like I'm saying, like react to stuff. They can't be cards that are just busted by themselves.
Yeah, I think Dweller is probably the most busted XYZ ever printed. Like, it's literally a floodgate. It's like insane. Rank 4 floodgate.
Shockmaster, mate.
Shockmaster.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about like legal ones. Sorry.
That's it. Okay, I was like Evil Swarm, Exaton Knight, and Shockmaster are probably the best ones, and they're both on the list.
And
Lavabo Chain as well. Sorry, Lavabo Chain is very good. Like the 3 best ones are all on the list. Like, and Lavabo Chain is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's a card that is gonna just be like that every deck can use. That's just like can make you do insane combos. Like, imagine if we had Lavabo Chain when Pepe first came out before the adjusted list. Like, it would have been so degenerate just sending a bulb and making a Nappy so fucking easily. It would have been retarded.
That's another card.
Well, we already saw it in the OCG, and that's why that deck was like never before seen has a deck dominated that much in the OCG.
It's good that we brought up on the Cheerio Beast because I saw your guys' discussion about it, and I completely disagree with all of you about Beast. I think Beast should be banned.
I agree with that. I always thought Nat B should be banned. The fact that it's not once per turn makes it bannable easily.
Pretty sure you argued in the video that it shouldn't have been.
I think for its format, it was like okay for its format, but in general as a card, I personally feel like cards that say your opponent can't or your opponent cannot and are permanent continuous cards should all be banned. Majesty's Fiend, Vanity's Fiend, Mistake, Lose a Turn, everything, absolutely everything that says your opponent can't do something permanently should just be banned.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, one of the big things about Naturia Beast is the fact that we're at a stage now where spell cards are going to be a codependent part of the format, and when we're getting to a point where every single format you're saying, right, okay, if I summon the Naturia Beast, I am just outright going to win this the mirror match against the mirror. And so then you're going to a point where every single format, you're just trying to find the most efficient way of summoning the Naturia Beast, which makes a massive problem for the game in the future.
The one issue with Naturia Beast is they gave it the best effect out of all the Naturias in the sense that it gets the mill to negate a spell. That's fucking insane. Like, you can give Barky on the effect to mill to negate a trap, that's fine. But why the hell are you giving, like, Naturia Beast should be the one that, like, discards, like,
yeah, like Landois discards a spell and, like, Barkion banishes cards. Like, why? And then you got Beast that just mills.
Yeah, why didn't you give Beast the one where you have to discard a spell or some shit? That would have been so much better.
Considering how spells are just generally more powerful.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So, thoughts on Gateway of the Six, guys?
No.
Never.
No.
Like, there's stuff like that.
There's no way bringing it back.
Kindling.
I mean, I'm arguing why Royal Tribute should be banned, and you're bringing up Gateway of the Six.
I'm just talking about what chat's got questions for.
Is Royal Tribute banned?
Royal Tribute's
no, Royal Tribute's banned. It should be banned.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh god.
What to be banned?
That's an interesting one. Opinion on preemptive hits.
Yeah. Jack, do you want to answer that first?
I feel like if you get really, like, decks, like, so for example, the Gishki loop, where one at Gishki's got hit, like, a week after its release, like, that's fair, because that's not something you want to bring up on the game. That's not something anyone wants to bring up on the game. But, like, I feel like you should always, like, as long as it's not something, like, so stupidly powerful, then it shouldn't be done.
Has Konami ever actually preemptively hit cards?
Yeah, they have.
What one?
Spirit.
But Spirit wasn't a preemptive hit for Japan, though, was it? Like, that was when we shared the list. Spirit, that's when we shared the list.
The Bandit, literally a month before the set came out, like, as soon as the announcement, like a month after the announcement started.
Wasn't that because we shared a list? Wasn't that because we shared a list with Japan? So, like, Japan had it banned, and it was just because we had to go by their list.
Mercurial was banned immediately.
Rooster came out.
No, immediately after it came out.
No, Mercurial was banned before it was released in Derby Union 1.
What card, sorry?
Mercurial the Destructor.
I just think that, like, Spirit...
Mercurial the Destructor, the Mercurial the Destructor FTK was never legal on the TCG.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to complain at that, though, either. Like...
Yeah, no, my main argument was against Spirit, because I don't think they preemptively hit Spirit. That's just because we had the same lists as Japan, and Japan...
Well, it doesn't really matter. Fire Fist wouldn't have been good.
Wait. We're talking about the Fire Fist.
It wasn't actually just the preemptive hit, because they didn't want the TCG to have it. It was because Japan did have it, and we just shared the list with Japan, and we had no say.
No, that was the first list we had.
Went to Japan and Spirit to here.
I thought it was the one just before.
No, it was the first one we had where we...
No, because Spirit came out just before that.
No, Spirit came out in that was in
Judgment
of the Light was the one after Lord Itachion, and
which
Lord
was not
August,
it was the month before August, right?
It came out it came out in August of 2013, and our first TCG list was September 2013.
So then it was not necessarily preemptive because the card would have been out and then hit it straight away.
No, because we already had one sec.
Spirit had been out like quite a long time. It just hadn't been good.
We should probably stop this conversation.
Yeah, well, that's not really relevant.
Yeah, like I feel like we should probably be talking about what we think should actually happen in the next list, as opposed to like this is what we think should come back.
Cosmo should, I don't feel like Cosmo needs to be hit. I don't feel like Monarchs need to be hit.
Okay, before
there's not
going
really
on to the
much-
current meta,
I think they just-
just finishing off some of the chat points. One point here is Spellbook of Judgment. For me personally, I feel like given the current state of the game, like if we're going like as a +4, I don't think that's good for the game. But if we're going in the context and logic of what we have currently available, I feel like if they ban Judgment, if they bring back Judgment to 3 and just ban Jaugen, like I think it would just be fine. Not gonna lie.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that very much.
Like
I
the
don't
deck
really
is
see, like-
so painfully slow. Like really, like do you guys think it would
Yeah,
do
but-
anything without Jaugen? Like
When
the
you've
only
got, like,
reason
blue-
that deck was scary was not because of its like +10. It was because it was like you would have a
Hear me now.
Jaugen protected with Fate and Wisdom.
Oh my days. The thing is,
I think-
if spellbooks were a deck and they just have such a sick Cosmo matchup. I mean, if you read Fate, like that's insane. Like, oh my god, let's do it. Let's just fuck Cosmo over. Let's make spellbooks.
See, the
good
thing is,
again.
Ollie, right? I think you're
Yeah.
actually overestimating how much Fate would impact against Cosmo, right? First of all, Fate is once per turn, and second of all, we thought that Monarchs would absolutely destroy and shit all over Cosmo because you just tribute their guy, and they can't do anything. But they have ways to spam the field, and I think that you're actually honestly overestimating just how good Fate would kill Cosmo.
Sure. I'm being like, I'm joking around, but like, you know what I mean. Like, it's just funny.
Guys, let's just bring back Carter Safe for channel. I don't see anything wrong with that.
I just don't think you can bring back Judgment. I mean, like, you just have to read the card and be like, actually, probably not.
It's literally like saying Carter Safe for channel should come back.
Do you honestly no? Given the current state of the game, do you think it's that bad if we ban Jaugen? Like bringing it
Why
into
would-
today's meta, do you think it would be that bad?
Which card do you think deserves to be banned more, Jaugen or Spellbook of Judgment?
Like all these decks today, like Magicians go like +3, and Pendulums in general can like make a big board and go like +2. So the plussing isn't really an issue because it's getting relatively slow and bad cards like Fate. Like I mean, it's not a bad card, but it's slow. It's once per turn. Banish 3, it's a heavy cost. You guys are laughing at me, but it's like given today's meta, like everything is just pretty fast. Like it's faster than
It's
Fate.
just there. It's basically Nadir. There's a local tournament near us where you're allowed to run one ban card, but the only ban card that they say is too broken and you're not allowed to run is Judgment. So we're just finding it hilarious that we're talking about Judgment.
But that's the thing, like I said, Judgment was only ever scary because you would summon Jaugen and you'd set your Wisdom and Fate. Like the plussing
That's not
didn't nobody
necessarily
cared
true.
about.
Still going like +4 was like something to be scared of.
Like, but
even
that's
if,
assuming like plus that you do get a +4. Like that was a best
Is it
case
plus-
scenario was a
Is it
+4.
5 is fair? That's like insane.
I'm just saying, but you don't rationalize something by other stupid stuff in the format.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I feel like overall, right, Judgment is should never come back. But like given the current state of the game, it wouldn't really surprise me, and I honestly probably wouldn't even care that much if they brought back Judgment and banned Jaugen.
Okay.
But then
Let's
like,
go on to more reasonable
doesn't-
ideas.
it doesn't mitigate like stuff like the Monarch matchups then?
Okay, bro.
Like if if your opponent goes a +4 and they're playing as Monarchs, does it really, the Jaugen being banned actually solve anything if Monarchs continue to be a deck? Because they just don't give a shit. They'll be like, oh, good thing Jaugen's banned because I can still tribute something.
I mean,
But hey, it doesn't matter.
you still need to special summon to tribute someone in Monarchs most of the time.
Yeah, but like it's not highly unlikely the deck just goes Domain Stormforce.
Like the thing is, like if you're sitting behind the Jaugen and you just bait the domain, like GG, can't play.
Probably like a turn.
Okay, so
I
opinion
mean, like-
on 1-for-1 not being forbidden. I personally feel like 1-for-1 is a totally fair card. It discards to special a level 1. Level 1s are generally shit cards. The problem is that most level 1s are broken. Opinions.
I just find it incredibly hard. It's -1.
Isn't it just kind of like one of those cards? Like I keep using this card as an example because it's the one that BQ always uses, and it's machine duplication, about how it limits card design for machine 500s. Like, don't you think the 1-for-1 kind of does the same thing?
It does.
It limits the card design for a level 1 monster. They can never make a level 1 monster that's absolutely insanely busted, due to the fact that 1-for-1 is a card that allows you to special summon it for free.
Jeremy's
Okay,
in the
so what
chat.
we're talking about, can you guys update me on what just happened and what is happening?
We're just kind of going through questions really from chat on future ban cards and stuff like that. We talked a little bit about erratas. Talked a little bit about floodgates.
Talked a little bit about judgment and how that should come back, right?
Should come back.
That conversation ended very quickly, though, guys.
Yeah, no, one for one should be banned.
Yeah, like any card, I think I agree with Beaky in a sense that any card that really heavily limits card design is bad for the game because it just it just makes the pool narrower and narrower. What you have with Konami right now is they keep releasing these cards, and like the further on they go, there's more expanded cards and more cards that do whatever. So the pool for cards that they can actually make that aren't broken just keeps getting narrower and narrower and narrower, and they're just going to end up at a point where they just can't make anything without it being broken because it's searchable by something, or it's I don't know, revivable from the grave, or it's whatever. Like it's just they keep doing it to self, and it's kind of a power creep kind of issue, I guess. But we've already talked about it, so I won't go on much longer. But you know what I mean. Like this narrow, it's like a hallway. This narrow hallway, it's just getting too thin, and like now cards are just going to keep coming out that's busted.
All right, I want to wrap this up kind of soon, so let's move on to my final topic that I had in mind, which is revolving around current cards. So everything that is like meta related, what do you think should be removed or brought back to compensate the meta? Just anything that would be relevant to what we have currently. If anyone wants to, Jerry, since you just jumped in, what do you think should be hit or brought back, etc., or the current meta?
I prefer a lot of things to be brought back, not necessarily from Pepe, but from like older decks. Like, there's a lot of things on the list that shouldn't be there. Stuff that limits like Glad Beast.
So you just want like more diversity, really?
Well, then people won't bitch about the game as much because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we can't play what we want, and you're forced to play these. But like, for example, cards like Diva, if you leave that to like 2, like Mermails will be significantly better because they suck right now. And like, instead of always introducing new decks, because what they do is Konami, they to push new product, of course, like they're always gonna have to release new stuff and keep the old stuff banned. Like if the old stuff's ever relevant, then they can't make money on the new things. But if they were trying to like actually diversify the game, make people like appreciate different decks more, then they should be more liberal, like unban a lot of archetype related cards on the ban list.
What cards?
Hornet,
Dragonfly should be like fucking
specific. Let's say like Hornet. Hornet should be back. Like Deep Sea Diva should be back. Like not at 3. Like I'd say probably like. And then you can have stuff like. Give me a sec. Well, some things that really need to be unbanned are stuff like Excite Night, which kind of balances out the game.
Oh god, I forgot we had a long discussion about this. Let's not get
talk about this. Foolish. Yeah, we can't. It's like half and half. I think Jack and Elliot were the ones that disagreed that it should come back.
No, I disagree. I don't think Excite Night should come back.
I said it's fine to be banned.
Okay, Brad, regarding the current meta, what should come back or go away?
In the current meta, it's hard for me to like given the current format, a lot of it is shit. So it's like with the adjusted list include in mind to see what they've done. I think that they probably shouldn't hit Pepe as hard as they have. So I think I don't know what immediately. I can't say off the top of my head what should come back for Pepe. But I think that there needs to be something on Pepe that has to come back just to make something a little bit more consistent, as opposed to playing like having to pick one of the shitty decks in our current meta game. But also, one of the things that comes to mind is what Jerry said before, is the fact that they should have Wavering Eyes and Juggler at an even ratio. They can't just like ban one of them and then like they can't like just ban Juggler with 3 Wavering Eyes about. Because then if a Pendulum deck becomes the best deck again, it means that Wavering Eyes becomes a complete and utter blowout.
So TLDR ban Wavering.
I think banning Wavering. But like to make the deck a bit better, like I think they should make Joker semi-limited, and then they should probably hit some other stuff related to the deck instead.
I agree. I agree.
Like-
The Joker's the only card that they hit that can be brought back up higher.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Monkey
Monkey's just a similar kind of thing to Scout. Like you're in a set. No, Scout's like every turn, but like you can't have Monkey Board at 3 because of just how surgical it will become. Like sort of like being able to pop it and then you get more Monkey Boards. Like the one card's getting its initiative.
difference is Joker costs a normal summon, so it's a bit different. Like even if you have multiple copies, like I know it's still once per turn on the monkey board, but at least that doesn't cost your normal summon. You could just do that and do some other plays. Whereas Joker, you're forced to summon it first.
The thing is, like, just +1s in general, I just really don't like.
But every deck has a +1.
I know, but like this kind of goes to the overarching theme of like power creep. I feel like +1 should just not be a thing.
Yeah, but then you'd have to hit like a lot.
I know.
Almost
So
every...
looking at this card meta, I think like probably Crobat's probably fine. I wouldn't really like how good magicians would become, to be honest though. But
I think the better approach, like instead of hitting everything, because we already said all the decks are shit. So the better approach to fixing the current meta is not hitting more stuff to make everything even more shit. It's rather that you release some things that are shit right now and make them slightly better. So then all the decks like are slightly better than they are now, instead of we're just playing a bunch of shitty decks that no one actually likes.
Yeah, that's literally it. Like,
because if you keep banning stuff, it's gonna be like battle of the even more shit.
I think that they just need to like. I think a good ban list would effectively be a very, very less intense version of what we have now. Because like I just think that they need to like at the very least they could ban either Juggler or Plushfire, and ban Ptolemaeus, and then in regards to the 3 limited cards like Luster, Joker, and Monkey Board, then you could kind of have some sort of you could probably like put Luster to 1 or 2, you could put Monkey Board to 1 or 2, and then just have Joker at 2. But I don't think that like putting everything to 1 or 0 is particularly like healthy.
Moral Attack to 3 is something I agree with. Definitely. Moral Attack sucks.
Bring Moral Attack to like 2, I think. Because you talked about this earlier, how every deck would be running like an artifact engine with Moral Attack. Like if you just had it at 2, it'd be slightly worse. So like it wouldn't be as much of a legitimate engine. Like your deck would just be half artifact.
I don't know why that card doesn't target. It's so random.
I don't think not targeting should be a thing, but at the same time, I think less cards should not have the discard can't be targeted.
Yeah, I think everything should target and nothing should say cannot be targeted. Because then you just create a lot of like degenerate, stupid locks. Like remember when Keybeel Safe Zone was broken? Like that kind of stuff shouldn't be a thing.
No, I don't remember when that was broken.
It wasn't broken, but I mean like it was still really dumb. Like what decks could out that apart from Spellbooks?
What decks made it?
Evil Swarm.
Oh.
No, it was.
Well, that broken deck. Oh, I remember it well. Oh,
it was
jeez.
Broken.
I'm not sure if that's the right word. Have you guys noticed that DN has like new card art? Like
for
updated
what?
colors.
I noticed that they have like doubled up on a lot of cards. For example, like one of the cards that has been doubled up is Downerd. If you check it, there's 2 copies of Downerd on there. Like they're just different card arts.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's because I think it's because one's like no, actually I might be mistaken, but I think it's because it's like when they censor it.
Yeah, censored. They always I have the censored versions.
Okay, so
like, you look at like
so basically if the boobs are a little bit smaller like and bigger, like they have 2 versions.
Okay, so anything you guys want to bring up that's relevant at all that we might have missed out or gone over or that you want to elaborate on more?
I think I think E-Telly should definitely go to 1.
What should go to 1?
E-Telly.
E-Telly.
I didn't say that.
I think that it's a good idea for it, but I also, from the standpoint of Monarchs, would really prefer E-Telly to be at least at 2, because then you can at least play Super Quantums and make the deck slightly more consistent rather than the pile of bricks it is.
Putting it at 2, putting E-Telly at 2 just pretty much does nothing. You may as well just not hit
If
it.
Jerry wants it at 2 and not 1, I want it at 1.
No, because if it's at 1, like you just basically wrecked the budget deck, which is okay. I'm okay with that. It's just I'm not actually totally okay with that.
we're in teledab format. We need emergency teleport at 1. It's a massive problem in the game.
Did you guys talk about Stratos yet? Yes, we did. Do you want to summarize that again, Vicky?
Stratos needs to stay banned because we have the problem of it makes it so that you need way too many cards on the ban list. And it's just much more easier if you just keep Stratos banned, because it's unfair to limit all these extra cards just so that you can have 1 Stratos.
Wait. Out of curiosity, which cards would have to be banned if Stratos came back? Like,
No, you don't have them banned, but did you not notice that like a ridiculous amount of cards got unlimited as soon as Stratos came back? And then Stratos got banned.
Like Equal and Rota.
Equal, Rota, Destiny Hero Malicious, Bubble Man, A Hero Lives.
I think, but I argue that
Like,
Stratos
look
at
at
1's not awful. Like, because think about it this way: like the OCG have had Stratos at 1 for the format before.
Look at the list. They still have those cards limited.
Does anybody else think that the semi-limited aspect of the list is like pointless?
Have you not
Like, I know
talked
Beaky
about
was saying about.
They still have
Yeah,
so
but
many
Beaky was talking
heroes.
about how. Like Beaky was talking more about like limited and semi-limited. I'm just looking at like every semi-limited card on the ban list and thinking like, what is the point? Whereas like limited is a bit more like that is more of an aspect. Yeah, it's more like pussyfooting around. Like Beaky said.
Limited.
Honest,
There's,
Dark
like-
Hole. Like Dark, I should have mentioned this as well. Dark Hole at 3 would be fine and Raigeki banned. I don't know why it's 2 and 1. I cannot see the logic behind that whatsoever. Ojama Trio and Ceasefire at 2 is just so random and bad, honestly. Like,
yeah,
Shooting burns
are missing
something
out.
I'd rather becoming a thing.
yeah, that's true.
You guys are missing Ramo and Night Assailant limited.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh,
And if anyone brings up the Night Assailant loop, then you know you're just kidding yourself, because that
I
loop
don't
has
know,
never happened.
Special Super Dragon Summon Mole, it's pretty powerful.
Why is this on the list? The Ritual Beast.
I don't know.
What Carnival?
Kinda-
Whatever, like.
Because it's Infernity Archfiend basically, and once it gets warninged or striked, you can't play the deck anymore.
I feel like that deck only wasn't like ridiculously good because everything else in its format was
Yeah, Ritual
better.
Beasts are nuts. I remember the YouTubers had YouTube tournament championship thing, and literally everyone that was sort of good at Yu-Gi-Oh, who was a YouTuber, entered with Ritual Beast, and that deck dominated because there was no Tellarknights, there was no Necros, there was no Shaddoll. The deck wrecked everything, you know, and everyone were playing like old decks and stuff like Firefest, etc. This was like 3 Spirit. Everyone just got wrecked by Ritual Beast. Ritual Beast has broken it as fuck. It's actually so good.
So
but
you're
it's
saying
just because everything else was like really
You're saying
much
that's
better.
just a preemptive hit because they kind of knew that it would become the best deck if they didn't hit it.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is,
See, I don't. Deck does. I didn't play much this format, so I can't really remember Ritual Beast. So I'm just going to take your word for it.
like there isn't a lot of decks that can deal with a Dark Hole constantly every turn kind of thing.
I have a comment targeted to what.
That did, didn't they? So nice.
There was to the guy that just said there was a time of BLS and Chaos Emperor and Chaos Sorcerer both at 1. Oh yeah, no, that was weird. There was a point where Smashing
have been a thing.
There was a point where Smashing Ground, Fissure, and Rise of the Storm Monarch were all at 1, and Dark Arm Dragon was at 3.
Wait, say those ones at 1 again?
Fissure, Smashing Ground, and Rise of the Storm Monarch were all at 1. And you had cards Allure of Darkness and Dark Arm Dragon all at 3. Oh, and you also had Dimension Fusion at 1.
This is why I think this company just doesn't know what it's doing. Like, the Konami just don't know what they're doing. Like,
Oh no, because those 3 were relevant cards at some point.
There was a 2-week period where you could play 3 Chaos Emperor Dragons and 3 Blackluster Soldiers.
Sounds fun.
So
that was almost as fun as that.
Comment about like, you know the Stratos comment? Like, if you take a look at the current OCG list and you just control F hero, like, and you call all that stuff, all of it's like unlimited except for Stratos at 1, and then they hit Shadow Mist to 1. Other than that, everything's fine.
I'm pretty sure Bubble Man's still at 1.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. It's at 3 right now.
You're thinking of ARG. They put it to 1 because they brought back Stratos.
No, they did put it to 1 originally in OCG as well.
No, I can show you right now. Like, I'll put the link in the current the
I
Skype right
know
now.
it's not anymore, but it was at some point.
Do you guys not think it's funny that
it's-
ARG had Stratos at 1 and then it did nothing?
I thought
Yeah,
they
yeah,
stopped
yeah.
the anyway.
That's
Well,
because
they've
it wasn't
stopped
possible.
distribution to ARG, so they've probably stopped the format.
So what are we looking
Yeah.
for on
Someone
this
stopped
list?
Ignite Hero in ARG. I mean, I know they ran free Summoners Art when they couldn't, but
What's this, sorry?
some guy stopped an ARG with Ignite Hero.
Oh,
In ARG.
Oh,
did he?
Matthew Monaghan.
Oh, yeah. He
Yeah.
played like 3 Majesty Fiend or something as well?
He
was
played
main
free
deck- it was-
Summoners Art when he couldn't.
It was main deck Jinzo and Denko Saka.
Oh, yeah, Denko and Jinzo. Yeah, well, Summoners are not staple in Ignites? It still is it not?
Yeah. No, but it,
Yeah.
it was at one ARG format, but he was playing free, and it got past everyone.
Wow,
No. What?
Malicious.
that's so funny.
Actually, it might have been at 2, which makes it a little bit more.
There are 60
still-
forbidden cards for January
You still have
2016.
Hero Malicious at 2 as well.
That's crazy, yeah, that like the 60 banned cards, you know? And some of these cards are like older than like some of our younger siblings and shit.
Like I still
What do you
question why Sangan's on there. Why is Sangan on there?
Why is
And which-
Granmole at 1? Like, Granmole's the funniest one, honestly. Like, Granmole is just too funny.
Because you could pendulum summon multiple Grand Moles and bounce all their guys back
Oh,
and then
no.
attack them directly with another Grand Mole. Because Grand Mole's OP.
And the thing is, they can't attack you because the monsters get bounced when they attack into it as well.
Why is El
Exactly.
Shadow Fusion one that's limited and not Shadow Fusion? Like,
Because it's the
Shadow
OTK quick play one.
No, but it's not with Construct banned, and the fact that
OTK.
Shadow Fusion is so much more unfair.
Well, has it done anything, Tom?
I agree with that. I know El Shadow was the one that was like more abusable, but El Shadow didn't have the chance of winning either game, whereas Shadow Fusion did.
I think that if Construct was still a card, like, that deck could actually, like, have a chance, like, today, honestly.
Like I think Construct should be at 1. Like if you like bring back Construct to 1, it won't do enough, like nearly enough, because it's really hard to cycle 1 Construct. Like you can't Construct for Construct anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, bring back Construct, then my Shadow engine becomes even better.
I feel like they could probably, like, I don't know, like, put Shrit to 1. Necros would probably be okay.
Yes!
Yep.
Oh,
What?
make it so.
Do you agree?
I
Well,
want
just
Yes!
Sure, it is limited right now in the OCG, and Necros are still doing shit all, and they even have Jin right now. Like they still have Jin. It's still legal.
Don't forget
Yes,
how
so-
shit
they have
our
Psych-
format is, though, so,
they
like,
have-
Necros
they
could
have
probably
Psych-
do really well.
Cycles
I
are
leave it a little bit before Necros become a thing again.
I would love it. I'd love to go back like 6 months. I love it because like that format was better than this one. So 100%.
I did enjoy
Necros
that
just-
format, because I was playing Burning Abyss, but, like, playing Necros was too much of a headache for me. Like, I don't know, I'm probably just shit at the game, but, like, I didn't enjoy it.
I loved Necros.
What were you saying, Jack?
I just hated getting like game 1 mistakes and stuff, and like
Oh yeah.
So,
Or like
It's-
skill drain or
double positions.
so dumb.
mistakes or.
Oh yeah, someone
skill
mentioned
drain.
sacrifice in chat. Tom, was it you who said that Scout should be banned?
If we go to the 0 and 3 thing, yes.
Why? The card deck sucks.
Because if we're
So,
talking
I'm
about
saying
Yeah.
for
For
0
free.
and 3,
Have it at 0.
Yeah, but why 0? Why not just put it to 3? Because if you're
so
choosing
you
one
have
of the...
everything 3.
I think you forgot how good that deck is.
It's alright.
But then again, I really don't like the pendulum mechanic.
Yeah, the
I
pendulum
think
mechanic is
that
crazy.
I think that was something that Konami definitely done goofed on.
Like, Scout is a 1-card scale, that's the issue.
100%.
Monk should be banned, but I don't understand how that's semi-limited.
Why is Monk...
Someone
Wait, what? Monk is so
Someone-
fair.
Monk is so fair.
Someone should definitely be. No, stop.
Why? What's wrong with
Monk is so broken.
it? What's wrong with it?
It summons any level 4 in the game.
What does it summon? That's a problem.
No, it limits card design. It's another card that limits card design. It's literally going, I can have 5 copies of this card in my deck.
No, but you think about it this way: like level 4 shouldn't be that broken anyway to begin with. They're like the most accessible card in the entire game. So like by default, there should be a limit on the power of level 4s.
Like the most powerful card Monk should summon would be like Armageddon Knight Sending Dragon. That's the most powerful Monk should ever be.
Ryo's the best. Ryo is undoubtedly the best level 4 we have.
But the thing is, like, apart from Ryo, like, I think literally, like, I'm sure every one of us in this chat, well, like, 6 out of 6 of us all unanimously agreed that every card that says your opponent can't or, like, cannot do anything permanently, like, should just all be banned, like, altogether.
All floodgates should be banned.
Yeah, so, like, Monk wouldn't be able to get Thunder King in this situation anyway.
What do you mean? Oh, okay, you're saying...
So we're saying that Emptiness should be banned, Dimensional Fissure should be banned.
But there's another side to this argument. No, there's another issue though, because when you're doing this, like, I don't disagree with you that it's a good idea, but I think, like, the other side to this is a lot of the weaker decks now can't compete. Like, for example, you had Phantom Beast, like, topping YCSs in, like, Necros format just because they put in 3 Mistake.
What the hell is Phantom Beast?
Not Phantom Beast, Mecha Phantom Beast, whatever. The tokens. Like, if they had Mistake, and they could do well with Mistake just by floodgating like Necros, that's the only time they stand a chance. But when you're removing all these cards saying you can't, like, these slower decks now no longer have, like, the power to bring you down. Like, if your ceiling's not high enough,
like, isn't that what we talked about earlier, where they should, like, make better support for older decks rather than keep making new busted archetypes?
But they should just be, they're kidding themselves anyway. They should just realize that they shouldn't be playing those decks.
Tom, fucking the realist, like,
but,
ripping pepperoni.
There has to be a
deal with it.
Casual people. There has to be a deck for casual.
No, you're
people,
literally
like,
just kidding yourself. Though you're literally being like, oh, I want to play this deck, and so it's just like, okay, we'll have fun losing.
Oh yeah, Summon a Monk at Sorcerer, we forgot that. Yeah, but I think we all agreed that Pendulums should just be, like, removed from the game anyway, so...
We've gone too far. Shit mechanic.
We've gone too far. We've gone too far.
Like, they can put Soul Charge at 1. They can put Soul Charge at 1, but they like make the Pendulum mechanic. Does that make sense?
You see, Pendulum mechanic's too bad. They just need to stop printing Pendulum good Pendulum effects.
We're too far gone.
Like, or Gita or Scout.
I think the game got really broken when you could put, like, multiple monsters on the board in one turn. Like, basically stuff like E-Dragons being able to summon, like, a bunch of monsters. You had, like, Chaos Dragons being able to summon a bunch of monsters. Like, these decks that just, like, make these giant pushes, that's what's making the game so fast. Like, for example, Pendulum, you can put so many cards on the field. Like,
but that's been like that since 2007.
No. Since what? Like, I mean, if you think about it, like, it's only recent. It's more recent.
I can list you decks that have done that since 2007.
Okay. List a few, because I just want to go through.
Challenge accepted.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Airblade, Dad Return, Light Swans, Zombies, Infernity, X-Steamers.
Light Swan. Okay. On the list, there's a few, like, for example, like Dad and stuff like that. Those I understand, but those are, like, broken for a reason. People hated them for a reason. But a lot of the other ones, for example, like Lightsworn and the rest, they're just more inconsistent at what they do. Like, they don't like, it's not like you play them every game.
When we had 3 Charge of the Light Brigades, 3 Solar Recharges, 3
No,
Honest.
but, like, you're not going to expect to flood the board. They can only use Lumina to flood the board with, like, weenie beats. Like, JD, you'd actually have to get, like, legitimately, like, draw it or something. Like, you're not going to expect them to drop their entire hand on the field, like, every single game you play them.
Right, but then you had, like, things like Plague Spreader Zombie, you have Beckoning Light. Like,
again, but cards like Beckoning Light are pretty, like, inconsistent anyway. So when you're running them in your deck, like, what I'm saying is these are, like, traps or, like, other things you have to mill. Like, they're slower methods of getting off. But right now, for example, Pendulums, turn 1, you already, like, go off, like, insane. BA, turn 1, you go off, you're insane. Like, all these decks just do what other decks
But-
used to do over multiple turns in like one
Right,
on your
okay.
first turn.
But I would argue what Lightsworn could do at its time was actually pretty insane for the fact that you act like even like with something that you might not think's like degenerate, like Lightsworn was it's not hard to argue. Lightsworn when it was at its peak was like the when Talladega got hit, it was the best deck, right?
Yep.
And like going into that and then being able to make a board of like double Lumina Arcus with set Royal Oppression. Like
Oh yeah,
that was like
imagine Royal Oppression wasn't a card. Like you're still expected your opponent to make a board or whatever. It'd just be a board of just monsters. It wouldn't be like a board of lockdown cards.
Arcus was a massive card in that anyway because your opponent couldn't play because they weren't able to use their Luminance.
Okay, guys. I'll give two final questions. Really quickly. Second last one. We didn't. It was actually kind of funny. We didn't talk about it at all. Red MD.
No.
No, too
No.
early.
Stay limited.
Isn't there like a new deck that's coming out that's able to like use it?
Blue
Same.
Eyes, I
No.
guess. I don't know.
Not well.
Not well.
But like there was the Heradic OTK, in the past where you drop that cannon guy like using two red meds. Like Super
Yeah.
Gustav Max or whatever.
Yeah,
Like that was pretty legit. Like it's a really consistent OTK. Like there's a reason that 2 level 10s make that was pretty unfair.
Okay, I'm gonna go through each of you and ask for a best/most worthy card to be hit, or deck in general to be hit currently for the format. So let's see, 7 of us, one at a time. We'll make it really quick. First of all, I'll say personally, I don't think there's any one best deck currently. There is, but we kind of just don't know it yet. Like I feel like every deck currently is sort of, kind of all equal. Pendulums, Magicians, Cosmo. I think they're all very viable decks, and just in an equal proportion. I don't think each of those outweighs the other too much that requires a hit. E-Telly is the only card I can think of currently that would like warrant a hit, and as we've spoken about quite extensively, there's a lot of cards that could come back, etc, etc. So yeah, pass over the question to you, Jerry.
Well, I agreed with you. Like I wouldn't hit anything because most of the decks right now are pretty bad. I'd probably unlimit things and make older decks better, just so that the format becomes more defined in a better way, because the format's not very good right now.
What about you, Tom?
Everything sucks, but I feel like pendulums are the best way of doing it, obviously because the pendulum mechanic is just so absurd. It's the best way of it's the best chance of you doing well in an event. I don't think there's anything that needs to be here. I just think that realistically from a Konami stance, because obviously I want to ban a lot of cards, but
yeah,
like the only thing I think is I honestly hope that TCG Konami are able to hit a lot of the floodgates, because it's something they've been trying to do for a while.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
One card that that should go along with Tom's argument, like if you say pendulums are the best deck, you should probably hit Wavering Eyes, because that card is just unfair. If you draw it, you just win. So if you want,
we've seen it. We've seen it happen like a lot in the top cut of this tournament. We've literally seen like Wavering Eyes for 3 happen like 4 times.
That just stole the game when it shouldn't have.
And the thing is, you can't play around. Like there's nothing you can do to play around it.
Okay, Jack, do you want to tell us best/most worthy thing to be hit so far today, currently?
Wavering Eyes banned, Monkey Board banned, E-Telly limited, Pantheism limited.
Limit ban. Jack's going in, boys.
Only consistent card.
And Joker free.
You can't hit Monarchs like only consistency card. That's insane.
Yeah.
I just think that's a really powerful card, personally. Like
the deck just becomes unusable.
Jack, do you want cards like Royal Tribute to be banned?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Bradley, do you want to answer the same question?
A realistic thing on what I think could happen.
So, I think that Wavering Eyes should be banned because it's inevitable that Konami will continue to try and market pendulums as the best mechanic, because it is pretty much retarded. But given the current format, I also think that E-Telly should be put to either 2 or 1. just because just Dark Hole Raigeki followed up by a Farm Girl Steals games. So I'm gonna go with those two.
Okay. Who else is left? Ollie, actually, since you're with Tom.
Hello. I think I probably agree with Wavering Eyes. I think I feel like Wavering Eyes is one of those cards where it had good intentions when they designed it, but it's kind of just gone a bit too far now. Like the card kind of does stuff which is a bit better than what they thought. I think Wavering Eyes was a card to make unusable pendulum decks slightly better, but it's just at the moment, because of like Damage Juggler going, you can't really use it. Another card I'd also probably hit is Instant Fusion, because I think that card is actually more of a problem than Nodin, because Nodin isn't actually that easy to get out, but it's just abusable by Instant Fusion, and I feel like down the road there'll be more cards that are abusable by Instant Fusion, so you should just hit Instant Fusion.
Yeah.
That's just my...
And finally, Elliot, want to tell us what you think?
I agree with Italy, I agree with Wavering Eyes. I think, like, again, with Igo's comment on Monarchs, I don't think Pantheism would be the right hit. I think Stormforth is the only actual problem card in that deck. It's, like, so versatile, it's a trap, it's removal, it's just so powerful. It's the only thing that deck has going for it, really, and I think if you took that away, the deck would be, like, fairly fair. Even if you just limited it to one, I feel like that's okay.
I'm surprised nobody suggested any hits to Cosmo, like, apart from E-Tail.
Well, E-Tail is a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I mean, like, if...
We should probably hit Dark Destroyer, because Dark Destroyer pop Dark Destroyer is a pretty, like, bad interaction, because it's kind of unfair. Like, it's not unfair, but, like, it promotes the OTK aspect of the deck.
Well, yeah, but with Dark Destroyer plus Forerunner is basically the same thing.
Yeah, but that's slightly worse, because then you're running Forerunner in, like, more quantity. Because you're running, like, 3 Dark Destroyer right now. Like, there's almost no way you're not getting a Dark Destroyer off every game. Like, not only does it have a pop effect, it also has the effect of not being able to be targeted, which is pretty good. And, like, all in one card.
I think, like we said before, though, it's just kind of in that same situation where none of the decks are that good, so you just can't, like, you can't, by just hitting those, like, hitting Dark Destroyer, you're just making the Cosmo deck even worse and putting it a lot further below the current deck, so I just feel like you can't do it. Like, there's a...
Yeah, that's why I said the ban list should probably be, like, freeing more things than banning more things, because you should bring a lot of things back.
Okay, so to summarize everything, I guess, I think we've all agreed that Wavering should be hit. Potentially a hit to E-Telly, but overall the format is kind of okay where it is now, in terms of balance, so nothing really extreme there. And yeah, this has been our top cut, this has been our ban list discussion. Thank you for everyone joining today. I'm glad we managed to peak at like 70 or something. Thank you to everyone who donated, thank you to all the new followers. Please do feel free to leave a tip, etc. in the donate section down below. If you scroll down, everything goes towards helping the channel get better, etc, etc. You know the spiel. So yeah, these streams will probably happen like every other night or something like that. Thanks to everyone here joining me as usual. Thanks to everyone watching, and good night, and I'll see you guys later.